It's time for more Pokemon Sword. I haven't really changed my party any since last time. So why am I even looking at that? But we've been shuffling through a couple of Pokemon as we go. Does the shopkeeper over here, well, shopkeeper asterisk, have good moves? And the answer is they are usable, but mostly too expensive for what I would want here. Just dealing with being sick. I get you. That is never fun. Is the short answer there. So today we are going to go across the bridge to the other end of the thing. Yeah, Flare Blitz is quite strong, but also I am not a big fan of recoil moves. Which is weird. You think that I play so unsafely with everything else. At that point, F it, why not? Well, that's the part of my questionable play, or not competitive worthy play anyway, that has stuck with me since the early generations. And here's our Snorlax that just sort of hangs out on the other side of this bridge and is like, hey, I'm really high level. I couldn't see properly what this cat was. So at first I was just like, is that a... I thought it was the electric bird from Gen 9, which doesn't make any sense. Do big hit, select every time. Yeah, pretty much. Just... Listen, if it gets the job done, I mean, why not, right? I have this weird, like, brain problem, I guess, where I crash into this random Sigilyph, but more importantly, where I sort of hit this weird halfway point between, oh yeah, I'll do this thing that is really questionably valuable, and oh, but inefficient play kind of shit, and it's like, oh, yeah. Yeah, this thing is back from not being a Gen 9 Pokemon. We're probably not going to live through this turn because it's probably going to Psybeam again, right? No, it's Air Slashing, which is actually more damage. But it does have a chance of missing, which the other one didn't. Unfortunately, if we want to bring this thing down, I guess we could Thunder Shock it. Do the other shops, like, rotate their stock, or is it just the one set of Watt items for the entire day? I forget. I also don't remember where the other Watt salesmen are. Otherwise, I'd be going and getting Thunderbolt. Which, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm still considering doing anyway. Thunderfang. Okay, not... This is not actually supported by our stat spread here, so I'm going to pass on that. They rotate based on day. Yeah, I mean, I definitely saw that they, like, switch every day, but I wasn't sure if they were all the same inventory. Which is more what I meant to say, but I didn't say it correctly. Oops. Oops. Hold up. Do I have a revive on hand? I'm sure I do. They sell different things from each other. Okay, cool. So I could go back and find one of those guys and see if maybe one of them has Thunderbolt or something. Thunder is nice, but I don't want to gamble on, like, 70% accuracy. I've played enough XCOM to know that that doesn't work. Unless I've got other goods in here. Tail Slap and Will-O-Wisp TMs. And look at all this fun stuff that nobody on my team can learn. Ugh. Dang. Ice Beam. I think I have to wait until Roger Moore evolves into Inteleon. And now that I think about it, Flamethrower perfectly fine on Forge. It is a... It's a split... A mixed attacker. There we go. Split attacker. I don't know how words work. Yeah, these are like actual games. Granted, I do miss all TMs being infinite use, but on the other hand, I kind of look at the sheer variety of moves that we have available, and in terms of TM and TR, and I kind of go, you know what? Maybe that's an acceptable loss. Yeah, it's fine. I prefer it over... Oh god, fuck you. Why you gotta do this to me? Oh right, I know why. Yeah, the TMTR system is not that bad. Like, again, the distribution on them is kind of smart and mostly categorized halfway decently. I don't like the crafting version that they did in Gen 9, but I think that a large part of that is they're trying to shoehorn a lot of, like, open world game mechanics into Gen 9 that are not necessary. I get the appeal from a distance of, like, oh, hey, that sounds like it would be cool. And then you play it. I'm actually going to take a quick bet here that any of my raids are going to be in the back half of the wild area. Because I remember looking at this, and for a couple days, I wasn't finding any up for... I didn't go across the bridge, because I was like, yeah, don't make progress off camera, even though it's only temporary. Zen Headbutt is not a terrible move. And by not a terrible move, I mean it's actually quite good, although 90% accuracy. I thought it was 95. Yeah, although High Horse, we have 95, so if you want to, like, haunts around a little bit. I think more to the point, I'm just not a big fan of it because it's like, maybe I just miss the old system so much, but yeah, if they were giving us Gen 5 TMs only with 200 moves, that might be a little bit OP. In terms of, like, depending on what you want the game balance to be. A large part of it also, like, just Gen 9 feels a little bit more MMO-ish to me in a lot of ways. It feels like there's much more stuff to grind, and they spam spawning so many things with the Let's Go mode thing. It's ignorable for the large part, but raises questions. Yeah, basically, everyone wants their game to be an MMO if they've never actually played an MMO. And as somebody who... when did Shadowbringers come out? Like, 5 years ago? As someone who was playing 14 for that long, I will say there were many times where I was annoyed by the amount of grind involved. Not to mention, playing PSO 1, which is also a very, very grindy game. There's a lot of just farm the same item until you get one with good stats involved there. I also had, like, one of the other great pissers to do with PSO 1. So I've told this story before. I probably told the story inside of the span of me playing Pokemon Sword. But back in the day when I was playing on one of the private servers, SCHT Hack, I'm not 100% sure how that would be pronounced because you know, it's just kind of an amalgamation of letters. But I was farming extensively a quite rare item on, like, probably one of the less good ways to farm it. And this was something that was a 1 in more than 10,000 drop from enemies that suck to fight and are kind of uncommon in the area that they were in. So I was running through this area like 800 times. Not literally, but it was a lot. And there were no good quests for this area either. So I did end up getting the drop, and somebody else stole it right out from in front of me. And my biscuits are still a little bit aggrieved about it, like, at least 10 years later. For those of you who are PSO1 aficionados, the item was the handgun gold, and I was farming it as Greenhill, so it was space station, pardon me, spaceship Delsabers. So, you know, just gag me with a fucking thing that would hurt a lot. Villain origin story, practically. Jesus. So yeah, aside from that, if you're trying to farm things that are like a sane difficulty to get in PSO1, a lot of that is like you're gonna be farming out multiples of them to try to get ones that roll an extra amount of hit percentage, which is extra accuracy. And usually the highest that you'll get out of a drop is like plus 50, which is obscenely rare. And then there's all the weird grindy shit that existed in PSO2 that I managed to avoid by not getting in on that game on the ground floor. I started playing PSO2 not only on the English server, but years after it saw its first English release. So by the time they had like all the story content and that up, although I did start playing New Genesis basically when it came out, and I did not enjoy it very much. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me again. Oh, jeez. I am sorry. I'm full of awful noises today. My body is rebelling against me discussing PSO2 New Genesis, I guess. Yeah, so I got in on that when it came out, and there was not much to do, and it was not very fun. But there was a lot of stuff you could grind out to get those basically substats. And yeah, TLDR, MMORPGs are kind of a bad idea. And it really does take somebody who plays them to be able to tell you how much they suck butt. Yeah, see, I need to make a note that not all of Gen 9 is grindy. Like, you can get through the story fairly easily, although it is definitely something that encourages you doing stuff for, you know, repetitive tasks a little bit. Like, getting experience candies felt really not great, and that is something that you would really want to be able to do in order to raise up a large amount of Pokemon to be able to handle certain high-level raids. Like, I definitely, when the Meowscarada raids came out recently, or came back as the case may be, I did not have Pokemon for those. And I had to go through max leveling quite a large number of things. Same for the other starters, but I think it was probably only like one thing. We got through Skeledirge and Quaquaval much faster, my friend and I. So, yeah. The overworld feels incredibly samey and empty for the most part. Yeah, that's kind of true. And basically, yeah, that is absolutely the thing there, Iron Fury, is that special raids are ass. And that's basically, again, similar vibes to a lot of the, like, more hardcore content in a lot of MMOs, but somehow feeling less rewarding. Because, of course, the big asterisk there is that if you're trying to do, like, the most recent Savage tiers and stuff in 14, for example, you get the rewards for that once a week, and they're not necessarily enough to let you buy an item. At bare minimum, with the 7-star raids and shit, you can get your Pokemon immediately, even though you're only allowed to get it once. Unless it's one where you're not allowed to get the Pokemon, period. Which I think has been the case at least once. Not counting the Gen 8 raids. But yeah, I think that a large part of it also kind of depends very heavily on goals that you set. Is that it's a game that rewards you deciding at some point, hey, I don't have to do this. Like, you don't have to shiny hunt. And it will burn through large amounts of hours of your life to do if you decide to. Whether you decide to just, like, destroy the entire horde, or you cycle them in and out once you have the bonus high enough for the horde and stuff like that. But yeah. And see, there you go. Fair enough. You set a goal of finish your Pokedex in the main game and the DLC expansions. Good enough. All right, now this thing is just one of these. So we'll go in with someone who's just a heavy hitter, just to defeat this sheep and get some free EXP candies. I've completed the Pokedexes in Violet. I think, truth be told, I'm probably done with the game at this point. Ooh, Torkoal giving us a sunlight buff. That's pretty handy. I don't know that I'm going to do that much, like, shiny hunting or anything. I don't find the game to be super duper fun, you know? I haven't even gone and caught all the legendaries. I might do that. But, like, I don't know. Huge amounts of capturing Pokemon with a base 3 catch rate is, like, that's not necessarily my idea of a good time. Especially because they have ways of making these catches better. Like, yeah, I do remember that they don't count for the Pokedex. Which is kind of why I'm like, I don't know if I feel this. Because it doesn't actually add to the Pokedex. But the thing I did want to at least finish the... Oh, that counts as the... That counts as a shot move? Gyro Ball? Huh. Didn't know. Anyway. So... I'm gonna blow my nose real quick. Hang on. What I was trying to express with regard to those is that I feel they had a perfectly fine new way of you being able to catch legendaries where there's still challenge involved, which was very specifically with the Ogerpon thing. But instead of it coming down to, okay, now I gotta chuck balls and see if it actually works and hope that it stays asleep long enough or stays frozen long enough. And if you go the freeze route, you have to go through all the RNG associated with freeze and not killing the Pokemon and hoping that it doesn't struggle itself to death. Hey, that dude gave me 5 experience candies. Nice. That they're extra small, but I mean, that still seems like a fair trade. That's examining 2 empty dens. And see, I would like it more if they did something like that for other legendary captures. The new DLC one, Terapagos. It is, yeah. I'm not a big fan of the design. I'll say that as a step 1. And step 2, I think the abrupt introduction of a new type in the DLC, I think that the implications that has on the game itself, it seems, especially with regard to the metagame, that seems like a little big. in terms of like just a thing to drop out of nowhere. And yeah, the story just kind of sucks butt entirely, so yeah, it was underwritten. Just like everything else in the game, it's unfinished, right? Da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, see, it's a cool idea, but they really needed to give you a little better quality there. And saying that, the Paradox Pokemon, I do like what they were trying to do with some of the designs, and I like the fact that most of the most of the past Paradox Pokemon were basically things that were not fully evolved. Like, again, you had Sandy Shocks, which was, by that point, considered NFE. The Slitherwings was, pardon me, it's only a single... Slitherwing is more like Larvesta than Volcarona, so that's cool. But yeah, it's not exactly a perfect concept. It sort of reminds me like what did they hear the fan ideas about, oh well, Ultra Beasts are like the glitch Pokemon but from another dimension, and then they did like a badly written version of that or something? I don't know. Again, it does always kind of come down to they have ideas. That's the big thing, is they have real ideas for the Pokemon games. It's just that the execution of them leaves something to be desired, is a way to put it. Oh, hey, look, it's a Choodle. It's our raid Pokemon here. This awful thing. Actually, speaking of which, now that you mentioned that, Fury, I want to take a quick look at the Pokedex again. Okay, so I'd have to do some math here real quick. Ah, yes, I love when I have to get in this position, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, and 5, 6, 7, 8, 11. Okay, so yeah, when you said that that bit about like they milk their way to 100, I went and I checked. So there are 12 Paradox Pokemon before number 1000. And then I went and I counted, and after those there are Roaring Moon and Iron Valiant, obviously, and 11 other Pokemon that are not Paradox Pokemon. With the big asterisk of counting Miraidon and Koraidon as not being Paradox Pokemon. I think arguably they are in lore considered to be such for Cyclizar, but I'm not counting them as such. Yeah, I'm with you with the idea of regional variants as a rule. Wiglet and Wugtrio, I think, to me, get a pass for being funny more than anything, but I do have the agreement of I'd like to see regional variants be a thing that's used more. But it is like, hey, this convergent evolution thing is an interesting idea to discuss, at least. And then I see the again, I say this every time. Then I see Poltergeist and Sinistra in the Kitakami decks, and it's like, this really could have just been a regional form. And that, to me, feels like the one that's the overstep. And maybe part of that is just like, okay, I don't consider this to be different enough between prepared tea beverage and prepared matcha tea beverage versus, you know, mole versus garden eel, or jellyfish versus woody or mushroom. Like, yeah, okay, you can say they're not, like, very impressive designs. Fair enough. But at least they're, like, different creatures on a level that I feel goes a little bit further than your average regional variant. Like, both Exegutors are coconut trees, yeah? And Marowak is still Marowak despite being a ghost. But ultimately, I do see the point, and yeah, there is sort of the matter just in general of this design didn't really do enough interesting for me. Because it's like, okay, yeah, I'll entertain Wiglet and Wugtrio as being funny, but I don't know how much shelf life it's got, right? It was real funny seeing the thing when they revealed it, but it's just kind of there. But also, I think that Diglett and Dugtrio are inherently hilarious anyway, so. If they could do something more interesting with the Convergent evolution, I think that would probably be better, but that might be something that would be considered a bit tough of a sell. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's just like, okay, actually, this is not even as interesting as Alolan Marowak. Nor, for that matter, is it as funny as Alolan Exeggutor. So, yeah, ultimately, kind of design, but I think that at bare minimum, they did kind of cook with at least a few of the Gen 9 designs. Like, I won't complain about that. You know, some of them are real. Some of them are really good. Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely... Oh, this Torkoal is gonna make me sad. Yep, we do love the weird, dirty cat around here. What an incredibly silly thing, aside from the fact that the beard flap still seems a little gross in the original. But on the other hand, it's a weird, dirty cat. Maybe it's supposed to. Maybe that fits a little better. Yeah, third line for Applin is well, I'm not necessarily completely sold on every part of it, but also we do have to remember that regardless of anything else, regardless of what you can say about Hydrapple, Fickle Beam was a choice, right? That's a move that somebody decided that they were going to do that. Personally, I think just give it like a 2 to 5 hitter move instead. Oh wow, we're looking at a 3-star here. We're we're starting to dial up the pressure a little bit, and I'm thinking that Roger Moore is probably still my best choice. Just go for pure muscle here. Is Hydrapple that good? Like, I feel like that's one of those Pokemon I would always be wary of using by virtue of the fact that it's Grass Dragon. Like, at least in terms of the competitive side of things. Because, like, Ice-type moves are... You will have that somewhere. Oh, that's actually quite good. Personally, I would expect that thing would just get folded pretty readily, so... yeah, I'm clearly underestimating it a little bit. But yeah, fun Pokemon on a couple of levels there. But again, just looking at the fact that its signature move is, like, by the way, base 80 power and 30% chance to double, which... sits in a very weird place. Yeah, true. It's all... God, I don't know how readily I would, like, be able to... Also, we got fucking one shot. That sucked. Wow. Like, with regard to Terra and its usage in the competitive scene... That's something that I just never know how well I'd be able to necessarily wrap my head around, just because I would be, like, very, very focused on the level of opportunity cost involved, you know? Of, like, okay, yes, I can tear a certain Pokemon, but it's like, what do I, you know, is this the valuable level of things? You know, should I be spending this on my Hydrapple when I have all these other slots for, like, again, there's a lot of Pokemon that would really benefit from it. So I don't know, that would scare the hell out of me with regard to competitive, because decision making, what are you talking about? But yeah, definitely one that it's like, hey, yeah, in-game usage, fine. I can say nothing negative there. Oh, rip that Dhelmise. Dhelmise, who's like another one of my, this Pokemon is super duper cool. Kinda. Oh, that was, oh, thank goodness for that Focus Sash. Now, if this thing could, like, use fewer moves per turn, that would be great. But yeah, in general, oh, fuck off with that game. That's just, seriously, this is what we're doing now? Is this what we're doing now? So, this thing turned into a murder machine just by virtue of, like, the passage of turns, pretty much. It's protected by... Oh, fuck. I forgot that was the thing. I forgot that's what it did. Well, that's going to be Rip Earn, because I forgot how... I forgot that was Psychic Terrain. What would I have been thinking did that instead? Fairy Terrain? Or... Fairy Terrain. Misty Terrain. There we go. I don't remember what the hell that does other than make Misty Explosion get more powerful multiple times over. So, oops. It also kind of helps if I don't get immediately, like, why am I doing that? I have to go back to single player mode for that. Oops. Prevents status. Okay, yeah. Psychic Terrain, yeah, prevents priority moves. It does the Bruxish ability that Bruxish has for some reason. where it's protected from priority moves. Also, it's Sarina. And something else? I forget. Electric terrain specifically prevents sleep. I remember that. Yeah, and grass terrain is like leftovers on both sides of the field, and also fucks your earthquake damage. I remember that from when I was trying to do that Skeledirge raid. That was the one that was causing me the big problems with that, was that I would keep getting the Arbaleva as a partner, so I ended up having to call in support for that one because I was using the Komo-O build, which uses Earthquake as one of its main damage sources. So if the tree keeps getting bonked, all ground type moves except high horsepower. Yeah, so that was causing me some quite significant issues when I was trying to capture that Skeledirge, but got it eventually. Ooh, that Flame Lash is a bad choice, buddy, but oh god, everybody is dumping stat reductions on this thing. That's not good. Then again, I forget. This one buffs the team, right? I've forgotten like what all the max moves do except for Airstream, which is the one that's like stupidly overpowered. So yeah, I'm not helping here. Well, I'm causing less problems than everybody else, I guess, but that's not saying a lot. Just don't hit me with the Death Ray is basically what I'm hoping to say here. Yeah, Rillaboom, with its Grassy Surge and the fact that they introduced Grassy Glide in that generation, that thing is just a monster. Like, I would say, were they paying attention? But also, yes. What do you mean a Pokemon game is balanced in a really crappy way? Oh, did they nerf it? I actually did not know that. Oh yeah, they bumped its power down by 10. Whoopty shit. That's... Wait, 55? Okay, yeah, they bumped it down by 15 total so far, so that's fun. Speaking of fun, the entire party died. Good. Well, I think this is not tenable right now. I would need to be a lot higher level or have an actual dark type ready. Well, that's a bit of a pity. Do we even have any dark types in our... Not yet, shockingly enough. Anyway. Oh, did I take... I took actual damage from that, so I'm at 1 HP. Wow. I forgot that was the thing. And yeah, there's a nice big high level over there you can see from that laser, but we're going to avoid screwing with that. But also, speaking of the thing about like, oh yeah, Fakemon design is fun until the sweaty people start coming in and start breaking them. Pokemon Uranium. Not that I necessarily always love to bring that up, but like, that is sort of a case where it's like, okay, you've got the fun designers and the mega sweaties who are the same people, right? that is a game that it's not like super competitive difficulty, but it's definitely designed to be like more challenging because it's people who are that enfranchised with the franchise, as it were, and don't necessarily have the best of perspective on what makes the challenge fun. Overall, I would say that I'm kind of in favor of more of the idea of like have difficulty options, but that would require more testing, and looks at the amount of testing that was involved in uranium, and I'm not sure there was much there. Oh hey, big loud bird that I almost crashed into. But that's enough about fan games, because truth be told, I feel if I wanted to play the ones that are super hard, I would go for the ones that advertise themselves as such. What need have I for those things when I can play the Kaizo hacks? Which is there one for anything later than Gen 3 yet? Just out of curiosity, not that I'm likely to play them anytime soon, but I know that there was all the way up to Gen 3 for those. For folks who want the extra pain in their lives. I mean, yeah, there's that. I could just be like, hey, yeah, create problems, because I know that you know how to, like, toggle everything to make me have to basically relearn the game. And probably have terrible luck besides, because, well, good old randomizer problems. You want 50 TMs of Route 1 moves, because that is probably what you're gonna get. Yeah, I can definitely see that. I admit that I am much more of like someone who's into a lot more casual play with Pokemon, but I see a space for the higher difficulty style, which again is why, like I say, why I like options. I kind of liked the idea of having the difficulty options like they did in Black 2, White 2. I didn't like the fact that you had to beat the game to unlock both of them, especially when one of them is an easy mode for which you have to beat the base game. That is just silly. Embrace the you know, fair enough to that too, right? Yeah, that was a befuddling decision. Okay, sure, put the hard mode behind winning the game, but the easy mode? All right then. So we've got some TMs here, or TRs, pardon me. I should say the right thing. I'm gonna grab a Thunderbolt, because that'll be nice for Jolteon. And now Blaze Kick is a very good move, but I don't know that anything I have can learn it or ever will be able to, because like yeah. Oh, we got a horsepower from one of those. Randomize, yeah, absolutely. Even randomize which version of the game you're playing. Oh, wait. Yes, it's just that it's a very silly way for that to end up very specifically, because, in my opinion, it's the part where it's beat the game to unlock the easier mode. That feels a little bit goofy. Okay, so what is Forge sitting on right now for moves again? I know we got Flamethrower, we got Rapid Spin, we got Smackdown. We don't have Raw. Oh, we've got Ancient Power was our fourth move, right? So I think high horsepower on there for our fourth slot is pretty good. And by fourth slot, I mean second slot at the moment, but yeah, you know what I'm saying. Had the first gym start at level 50. Ooh. Now that is brutal. Might work for something that gives you more open-ended options, but for something that wants you to go through things in the proper order, that seems like a lot of luck or grinding that would be involved there. That's right, buddy. We've got 3 gym badges. Isn't that extremely normal? What, did he fall in a river? He's a little too self-assured for that sort of thing. That's right, buddy. You don't get dynamic camera angles or something. Well, let's go into town and have a look at the even bigger big city, because goodness knows the other big city wasn't big enough. It does look a little bit, those like wing structures, that feels a little over-designed, and I don't know if it's necessarily like the safest thing anybody's ever come up with. But hey, talking about architecture in a Pokemon game, listen, it's Pokemon. By Gen 6, everything is being silly. Look how English this is. Yeah, absolutely. That's very much like, hey, yeah, by the way, it's England, so check out our castle. Look at our dragon heads. Isn't this extremely British? What have you... Oh, yeah, we need battle points for these, and we don't have those yet. But here's where some of our trade evolution items are. I mean, were Magmar and Electabuzz in the main decks? But also, we don't have Metal Coat in here, do we? Yeah, we don't have Metal Coat. A castle they probably stole. Well, at bare minimum, at least most English castles were already built there in the first place, so... by people who had lived there before. One of the few things the English probably didn't steal. But the designers? Also, yeah, for some reason, here's Rose once again out here just in his boxer shorts. You know, hanging out in the middle of a very, very populated city. Like, he's got to attract complaints at some point, right? He's gonna tell us about where the energy comes from in this region. I would assume very large batteries. Oh. A lot of thoughts on Rose. He's character all right. Like I said, I kind of feel like the plot of this is kind of like Gen 3, but way goofier. In fact, I probably said that like every single stream I've done of this, but I digress. Oh, he's gonna hand us a pill to show us. No, it's an easy to understand description of the energy plant. Yes, if we understood the Pokemon World's font, maybe we would be able to understand this. Hey, Retro, how's it going? But as it stands, this is just like, okay, you've handed me something in Ishgard text for some reason. No, wait, not literally. Hello, small child. Look at my business slides. Yeah, absolutely. The team is basically Team Flare without the entertaining part. I mean, Team Yell is like a whole other situation. And again, kind of tied up in a thing that I've said before. There's room for a story about that, but it kind of gets passed up, which is a little bit ironic in its own weird way. Ultimately, if there was going to be like a proper, you know, like if you fought Macrocosmos anywhere other than the last bit of the game, I feel like the vibes would kind of be like, what if Team Aqua and Team Magma, but much stupider in terms of goal? Because remember that Rose is going to tell us about an energy crisis that is at bare minimum theorized to be like hundreds of years in the future. It is not a concern of his or anyone's at this point, really. Not to say that necessarily you should under no circumstances deal with that, but like, you got bigger fish to fry, and when your idea of dealing with it is, you know, summon the Godzilla Pokemon again, this guy is definitely like, you know, peak dumb asshole whose entire villainy is centered on the fact that he's a fucking idiot. Okay, yes, Maxie and Archie are also kind of being a little bit stupid because it's sort of this idea of like things that aren't real issues at this point, but and also their methods of doing it are wildly destructive. Not unlike this guy, but this guy also openly admits that there's no point to doing it. And I mean, yeah, Rich CEO is a fine villain, but also this is just kind of like, okay, we're dealing with the fact that you're a fucking moron, and that doesn't necessarily feel all that rewarding. Maybe because the fact that we're dealing with dumb fucks who do capitalism is just real life, for that matter. They need to get a new gamepad. Try out the Pirate Yakuza gamepad disconnected like twice a minute. Ooh, oof. Hopefully you can get that sorted, Retro. Thoughts on the OCG list? I haven't seen it yet. Yeah, basically, like they completely skip over the entire, like they put this big glowing neon sign here of like, we're about to make this the point, and then they say, no, actually we didn't. Ha ha. It's very specifically a comment on this guy being an idiot, and again, I've sort of said before that it does sort of vibe a little bit like it's sort of like nuclear power is the thing that they're going for as sort of their objective. Not necessarily a perfect one-to-one or anything, but it's the idea of being like, oh, it's this miracle energy source, but also it fucks things up horribly. And again, Japan would have a very good reason to do something that's not pro-nuclear power, but it is like, hey, yeah, it's Gen 3, but they did this too. Yeah, and I don't necessarily expect everybody to agree with my perspective on capitalism or anything like that. So, anyway, yeah. We picked up a ball from Ball Guy, and I ranted about the fact that the story here kind of sucks eggs. Pokemon's stories have consistently been the best, in my opinion, very specifically when they've just been about child abuse, and I'm not necessarily sure if that's, like, on purpose or anything, right? It's just that that's how it's shaken out. Is that I think that the story tended to be at its strongest when it was like, oh yeah, by the way, Getsis is a fucking monster! And, oh, by the way, Lusamine is a fucking monster! And then Ultra Sun Moon happened, and it's like, oh, by the way, we really botched the shift here. And I mean, some of the others do have their places. Like, I've described Cyrus as being like a Kingdom Hearts villain before, but also, I think at bare minimum, the fact that he is kind of like nuts in a very particular way is still pretty good. And I do genuinely just have a soft spot for the Team Rocket era, because while sure the Team Rocket's deal is just like, oh hey, they're crooks and it's a little bit small time on a lot of ways, I think it works fine for what it is. So yeah. Yeah, see, there is that point too that I think is interesting about Chairman Rose in some regard, is like, he would have a reason to do it if he was a glory seeker, but he legitimately just does not care. Oh god, I actually don't remember the fact that it's like, oh, by the way, it might not happen, but I completely believe that as a possibility. Alright, so tell me about this guy. Yeah, so I guess our friendship isn't maxed out, but that's fair. It's early yet in the game, technically. What do you want, buddy? He's gonna fight us. He's probably gonna end up, like, giving us a focus sash or something after we deal with his focus sashes. Actually, knowing my luck, he'll be like, oh, by the way, focus band instead. Is the focus band even, like, usable? I mean, I've seen focus sash on plenty of things in the Pokemon universe, but for those of you who have forgotten, focus band is an item that has a 10% chance of letting you survive a really hard hit, a killing blow, pardon me, letting you survive a knockout, but it's a chance-based thing. It doesn't care what HP you're at. That doesn't really seem all that usable, but it has continued to exist. Yeah, exactly. That's why I was bringing it up, is like, is this thing usable or is it as crap as I think it is? You don't remember any Pokemon? That's fair. There's a lot to remember. But hey, do you remember what Choodle looks like? You probably shouldn't. It's weirdly ugly. Well, then good. You're doing better than I am. I mean, I could, and then I'll just show you a Dreadnought. It'll be like nicknamed Choodle DX or something silly like that. Yeah, like, I wouldn't say that Cyrus is necessarily a high-grade villain or anything, but, you know, compared to some of the low points, I would still call him mid. And sure, he's definitely a bit of a whiner, but I mean, again, I think part of it is that I have spent so long despising Kingdom Hearts that I also have a begrudging respect for it. I'm gonna keep comparing Cyrus to a Kingdom Hearts villain because, I mean, he is like budget Nort a little bit. And any other would be a workplace shooter. Jesus. Okay, that's a pretty good line. That's fair. You've got me there. I'll laugh about that. That's horrible, but it's also really funny. Oh, hey, look at this fucking Cramorant shirt that we can get. Cramorant is another, like, deeply silly Pokemon, so credit where it is. Yeah, basically, and I feel like they try really hard to give Cyrus this vibe of being emotionless, but it does sort of fit in with this constant style of things where they have this supposedly emotionless villain who actually cares very much. It's just that most of his concerns are shown through being an asshole. And you'll notice how incredibly they care when they lose because their skin thins out so fast. Yeah, did you have anything else to say about... Apparently the guy wanted me to see him, so yeah. Oh, does this person not have anything to say about... Oh, just only when I talk to her from the front. That's weird. Change the Alga and Palkia into an AR-15 in there. They had... I was gonna say, they had form changes in Legends Arceus, and I can't remember what they looked like. Would that have been preferable from a visual perspective? Hey, guy. I love this one stupid NPC. Gastronaut, I choose you. Squish! Squishy, squishy, squish! Yeah, I don't remember what they looked like, but I don't remember them being particularly appealing. It's not exactly Giratina, you know? Which had that, like, freaky snake thing and was already kind of cool to begin with. Also, Giratina I thought was a very interesting Pokemon at the time because it was Ghost Dragon. And that seemed like a very interesting type because it was so pointedly weak to itself. Right? And then they released the Dragapult line, and it got a lot less unique, right? Not much else to say about it. It's like, well, now there's more of them. But I guess that's bound to happen. There's not a whole lot of unused type combinations anymore. We do finally have a Bug Dark, which that feels like one that's like, wow, I'm surprised it took us that long for that. No Bug Dragon yet. No full-on Centaur Pokemon yet. That is true. That's kind of interesting. We don't have that quite going. Could get a Rhydon with a second set of back legs or something. Because I guess going like full human would be a little funky, but yeah. Yeah, Lokix is an A+ design. Cool concept. Pretty good Pokemon to use if I recall correctly. It's nice to use First Impression on not Golisopod. Unless it was usable by some other stuff too, right? Oh yeah, First Impression was also learned by Sirfetch'd and Phalanx. Interesting. And for some reason also Slitherwing learns it because, I guess, give the bug fightings more cool things. Oh, it's got 81 speed. I thought Slitherwing was a lot slower than that. Yeah, it's a... Now I don't remember if I used it extensively in the main playthrough of Violet, but it's definitely very good. And hey, you don't have to wait until like halfway through the game for them to throw you a good bug. Which these games are not always the best at. With a big asterisk that needs to be placed on this one because the sheer amount of Pokemon that you can get just in that early wild area. It's pretty wide. Along the way to Stow-on Side, huh? Slightly, you know, feels a little bit literal in its own way, but hey, that is also a very English kind of thing, so yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think a large part of it also has to do with just sheer variety of things that are available at the start of Gen 8. It's just like, oh yeah. And hey, if you don't like it, just wait a day and eventually you'll get something a little more interesting. I think the snake is asleep. Alright, well guys, if we got a fight, we should take it to the side of the road then. And look at these goofballs just yelling their, you know, their full heads off. Yeah, I mean, they give you access to your extremely good bird. Corviknight still being just an absolute beast of a Pokemon for this long. But then again, I feel like Steel Flying is... Your Pokemon's gotta suck if it's Steel Flying and it's not great. Basically shittier Team Skull? Mostly. And I'm not here to say that as like, I don't know that I agree with them being worse. They're definitely worse than Team Skull. They've got the punk vibe too, which is, yeah, the comparison works for that. I think it kind of is just a little different in general of a thing, but I see part of the point. I think it's also the fact that I don't have a bunch of people who are telling me like, oh, Team Skull are so cringe, as if that's the, you know, not the point, right? Wow, who can imagine the characters they designed specifically to be like dorky millennial kids who are having a bad time with traditions that are not built for them would be a little bit cringy, right? Who could imagine such a thing? Anyway, this Linoon is probably not gonna... Well, it might live just barely. Yeah, because to be fair, double kick is not strong, and we're not looking at a physical sweeper here, yeah? So, fair enough, I guess. But hey, it died by recoil. Neener, neener. Yeah, exactly. Guzma was a great character. You know. Give credit there. Meanwhile, Sword and Shield are a bit underwritten. To put it nicely. Yeah, like, these guys are, you know, definitely not that, like, okay, you've got soccer hooligans, and that's all you've got in terms of these characters. Like, there's a lot more stuff you can be doing when it comes to trying to make them, like, extremely British punks, but instead you did not. And that's all I've got in terms of commentary, really. But I guess maybe they didn't want to scare anybody upstairs a little too much, because... Oh, they're out of here. Yeah. This isn't really the... To put it nicely, this isn't the best when it comes to plot. And to be fair... It's not really, you know... Also, the other thing is that I don't necessarily expect a ton of depth out of Pokemon. And Snake's just like... I don't know what's going on, I'm out of here. Which, you know what, buddy? Big mood. Take a look at that hat and the rest of her fashion. That does not seem practical, but I admire it. And yeah, it is just like, well, they could have done more, but it's probably excusable. I just think that ultimately, I would like to see a little more once in a while. Ultimately, though, I think I'm satisfied on that angle because we had Gen 5 and the beginning of Gen 7. So, they've done a couple of decent stories. Just don't make me hate the entire cast, I guess, is all I can hope for, which I wasn't a big fan of the first DLC of Gen 9, and really not the second one from a story perspective, gameplay perspective too, but Kitakami was like really laggy. For some reason, the first DLC just made the performance that was already a problem kind of go, So hopefully whenever the Gen 10 games come out, because goodness knows there will be a 10th generation. I mean, it's not like this franchise has stopped selling or anything, so... You know, all I can say is, hey, I hope it's just good, and I hope it works properly. Yeah. Ultimately, that kind of comes back to one of my major things that I think I complain about a lot when it comes to Switch stuff is the extent to which, ooh, this could actually be moderately painful. Not as much as I was expecting. I mean, I guess it wasn't going to kill me either, but I saw Lava Plume and I was like, yeah, that's not great during Sun, even with a resist. That could be bad. Let's learn. Yeah, unfortunately, Sneaky Pebbles don't really suit my playstyle in single player, so nothing doing there, champ. It's kind of baffling that Stadium 1 and 2 had better animations than current Pokemon. Yeah, okay, that's definitely a thing that's a problem. Those are a little dry, to put it mildly. Alright, let's send this bird in to do bird stuff. Like poop on a car or peck someone's eyes out. I don't know. Whatever bird stuff is. We're here to do that. Yeah. Wow, these metronomes are coming up with some very interesting moves for sure. Hydro Cannon, huh? That's your water type Hyper Beam for those who don't remember. Yeah, for sure. They need to be permitted to have a real amount of time to do stuff. And not redirect huge amounts of their budget towards what had to have been a pretty big percentage for royalties for Ed Sheeran. There we go. I couldn't remember the word royalties. I'm sorry. Oh, hey, Doug Trio. Hey, dude. Yeah, like the Pokemon when they're in overworld mode will do some cute stuff. And again, I love the way what they did with Sudowoodo when it spots you and it just runs like hell. That's real fun. Yeah, exactly. Like, I'd be like, they really wouldn't want to disappoint people with them being on new hardware. But also, I do have this sort of like, you know, slight bit of nihilism to it where it's like, yeah, people just buy it anyway. It's interesting how much that, oh, well, what if we just don't buy it? It'll fix things. Didn't go over because people just didn't not buy it. Even the haters were just like, okay, I'll buy it anyway. Z to A is for, well, I guess a fairly specific audience. I feel like what would end up happening though is that if they had just chosen not to do Z to A, then let's be honest here. People would probably just be like, they probably would just like not give them any more time for it, is what I'm trying to say. Is that unfortunately I don't think Z to A is going to have a great influence on that. The company is going to do company shit, and that's about all I have to offer here. So, Sawk is a pretty good Pokemon, at least from usability perspective. Design, that's up to you. It do kind of look like a bit like one of the Muppets. I've heard people call them Bert and Ernie. I usually refer... that would be Sock and Throw specifically, by the way. I've heard people refer to Sock and Throw as Bert and Ernie. I've usually referred to them as Statler and Waldorf, personally, because I find that to be really funny, so... We're going to switch out because we're not tanking another hit, and I know that another low sweep is going to happen. Or some other attack, either way. Although, shoutouts to him doing like a karate chop animation, and then it's the leg sweep, right? Yeah, many people can't remember Statler and Waldorf's name. That's kind of true. Like, people know Statler and Waldorf, and they know the bit and everything. They just probably don't remember the names offhand. But there we go. We got our starter fully evolved. I thought we would have to go to level 36 for that. So that's neat. We finally have Gex, everybody. And Secret Agent Pokemon. Wants to learn Snipe Shot. That's going to be our new water attack. It's, what, 15 PP? Yeah. Ignores the effects of opposing Pokemon's moves and abilities that draw in moves. Which is such a very niche thing to have as its side effect. Like, huh? I'm surprised because I think its hidden ability is Sniper, so instead, like, maybe give it the crit rate up or something? Would fit more, but you know, shrug. Like, okay, can't be pulled by Storm Drain. Very small number of cases where that would be like high value, I think. I could be wrong. In fact, it's very possible that I am, but that doesn't seem quite as, like, amazing as some of the possibilities, because I think the other two, their signature moves were something really goofy. Rillaboom has Drum Beating, which is 80 damage, lowers the target's speed. That's pretty solid, right? And Cinderace is like Fireball was something dumb. Okay, yeah, Cinderace also had Court Change, but Pyro Ball was 5 PP, 90% accuracy, 120 power. And it's just a 10% chance of burn, which is quite basic, but it works. Yeah, I mean, Cinderace had a whole bunch of other stuff in terms of things that it could do to be a complete monster. Oh yeah, I suppose that since our next gym is going to be that Psychic type gym, let's get our Hatena in here, and I love you a lot, Dwebble, but unfortunately... Yeah, because it had Libero, Libero, which is just an already existing, stupidly powerful thing. Oh, hey. Roger Moore and Forge can learn Scald. That's pretty neat. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. actually. Can you learn Ice Beam yet? Or am I gonna be sitting here like, oh, I didn't spend those watts on that TR for nothing. Hooray! Alright. Water Pulse? Don't need that so much. Yeah, it's probably going to end up happening at some point. I guess I don't really need Rapid Spin in the actual gameplay now, do I? I can have my Fire, Water, Rock, Ground set, and that's more than good enough. It'll be fine. Just uses the most TRs on this Pokemon out of anybody in the entire crew. Why not, right? That's a pretty good Pokemon. It's a pretty fun fellow. Oh, we've got quite a chunk of stuff here. Our rare candies are getting pretty high up there. All right, so feed a couple of these to Magistoss here, and I guess we should probably just level like everybody a little bit with these. The hell with it. Let's learn Heal Pulse? Nah. Well, I guess the naming that Hatena after a White Mage weapon makes a little more sense now, doesn't it? Alright, so we'll at least get Drillbur up to level 30 here. 31, I think, for the evolution, but we'll get there through EXPs. Everyone to 30, as close as possible to 35. Okay, yeah, good point. Hone Claws, I don't really... Well, if I wanted to, I could probably take a turn of setup with Hone Claws, and then everything can hit once. Hit for sure, rather. I think the accuracy would be high enough for that to go. So, yeah, that's what I'm going with for now. How much do we get per medium candy? 3 grand. That's pretty solid. Okay, that puts you to 30. Hey, I don't need to use a TR for Dazzling Gleam. That's nice. Thumb Crush. I think I did that. Alright, just... Yeah, we'll give you 12, and spread the others out a little. Oh yeah, that's like nothing. These are now practically useless. I forgot that it... They changed the number... They probably changed the numbers on these for the next generation, didn't they? So... Hey, level 32 wants to learn Dig? Nah. I'm good without that, but there we go. There's our evolution for Drillbur. Into Excadrill, who is just an absolute champion of a fighter most of the time. Ground Steel. Little bit fragile at times, but also extremely high attack power, and I do not need Horn Drill. Sorry, dude. That's not happening. Alright, now, to try and equalize things a little bit here, I think the hat evolves at level 32 or something. Yeah, we'll put everybody to 32 first, and then I guess just hold on to those last 2 rare candies. And that will do for the moment. And now it's back on the road afterwards. There we go. There's our evolution. Do we even have a decent psychic move for this fellow? Wants to learn Brutal Swing. This is probably not very valuable. But we'll take a look anyway. Oh god, yeah, that attack is so low, but... I'll dump Aromatherapy for it. It was going to be one of the 2 healing abilities, obviously, but... Yeah, it's got Psybeam. That'll do for now. Yeah, hang on to those. Oh, no. Give one more here. And now we're good to go. Now it's back on the road for real. And the rest we can gain through EXP, probably. Immediately clobber into Unfortunate Yamask. More than usual. Hone Clawsing twice is probably not necessary to kill this thing. Really, I could just hit it with its regular attacks there, but hey, do you want extra messages throughout your battle? Yeah, I'm in a full agreement about that with regard to Runa Regis. I would much prefer it as a Ghost Rock type. We already have a Ghost Ground, and it's a really cool one, in my opinion. So I look at this and I'm just like, why would you do this? We've got more interesting things we can do. And I feel like Ghost Rock is a better synergistic type for reasons of like just checking itself. Also, the doctor guy just looked really tired. And I mean, fair enough, buddy. Very nice. I am always going to think about the fact, specifically with regard to the move Drill Run, the fact that they handed it over to Fearow when it was first available in Gen 5. Just because I think that's a fun thing for them to do. You know, that's neat. You want to put Fearow back into a game, give it access to that nice and early, so that way it can have a fun move like that available at the drop of a hat. Here, you know how I can avoid having to use too many healing items in this Pokemon right after I just got out of the Pokemon Center? I can equip this with a... I have to find it first. I got leftovers, right? Yeah, we found that early on. Yeah, that's kind of odd, because there's... You know, those kind of basic birds are seen in a lot of places. Sparrows, other sparrows, pigeons, other pigeons. The various kinds of birds that the Pidgey line is also kind of made up of. Oh, was that 2 of those that I got? Huh. Interesting. Well, neat. Starlings and the various things that Staraptor are based off of. Also, we don't have more birds of the type of Doduo, where the running birds that I forget the actual name of. Yeah, Pokemon Insurgents. That was one. I haven't played through that yet. I got to get around to it someday. Well, yeah, not just ostriches though, because there's like emus and other various types of birds who just run. But yeah, the concept from Insurgents is based on the Delta species Pokemon from the card game, which I thought was kind of neat that they picked that up and they were like, we're gonna use this as the core of our design here. Because hey, why not, right? The Delta species thing, I think, has always kind of been kind of attractive to a lot of people. As this like, hey, yeah, what about these existing Pokemon but in different types? And it was not done anything with on any of the official games. Not counting the Pokemon card game, because, yeah. Insurgents went further than that, though, because they had different designs for them, too, if I recall correctly. And again, this was before we had the idea of regional variants or anything like that. TM15, it's Dig. Which, fair enough to have Dig as a reusable, but also, this is right after we have the escape rope as an endless use item, right? Seems a little less valuable now. Oh, that's just sick. The electric ice type. Just like, not really a lot of Pokemon, but nice. Anyway, as you folks can see, there is a lot to explore around this area. So, if I get lost as hell, then oops. So am I misunderstanding, or was there one for Charmander that had like was wearing like a skull helmet, or it was a skeleton or something? And it was ghost type, which would make sense. Maybe it was a different Pokemon, but I feel like it was a Charmander that had that going on. Yeah, it was Ghost Dragon, right. And again, considering the timing, this is also back in the day before we had the Dreepy family. Oh, he's chucking me out of here? Oh, you butt. Come on. Let me not have a Pokemon that's probably one of my worst choices out here. Oh well. Yeah, and Charizard was basically a black bone dragon. I do not remember that part of it, but I really only remembered the basics, so. Yeah, but there's a bunch of Pokemon fan games out there that I need to play more of at some point. One of these days. I'll probably at least play some of them on stream, too. Oh, what the hell am I doing? I don't need Pluck anymore if I have Drill Peck. Nice. Nice. That'll do. You know. I feel like you gotta do something like that, or just lean all the way into Squirtle Squad. And then you just have Mafia Blastoise, which is funny in its own right, but doesn't quite, not necessarily always gonna hit quite as hard as the other thing, right? Steel Wing, that is a 95% accuracy move, I believe. So Steel Wing is quite usable, I think. Okay, 90% accuracy. I was close. Still a perfectly serviceable attack. A nice find. Unfortunately, we can't teach it until Corvid evolves, I'm pretty sure. Just taking a guess here that Corviknight can learn Steel Wing, because, yeah. Why we all say so I will give you an asterisk here that British people do say tortoise, but yeah, why do we here in America, where we pronounce it tortoise, and I will say not all British people say it as tortoise, so fair enough to anyone who's like, I'm English and I say it tortoise, or I saw that one Ashens video where he pronounced it tortoise. You are correct, not all of them, but I have heard tortoise out of some British accents, so asterisk. But yes, most people do pronounce it tortoise as far as I know, so why we say Blastoise instead of Blastus, I don't know. But I like Blastus. That's pretty good. Or not terrible, as the case may be. Alright, now Pawniard should be a little bit more possible to one-shot with, well, one-shot as in it did take both hits, but in one turn. Saw a TikTok that pronounced Blastoise as Blastoise. It's French. I mean, you know what? I gotta give credit to that, because knowing me, I'm gonna start doing that at some point. There's a couple of other Pokemon that it's like, I know how to pronounce this, but I am intentionally pronouncing it wrong. Now I can't remember what they are offhand, but I've definitely demonstrated. Oh yes, C-Dot as C-Do. I've done that before. I mean, I've demonstrated before, but again, I've said before that from what I remember hearing somebody say at one point that Reuniclus is technically, canonically pronounced Reuniclus. So I think once you hit the point where you start doing that, all bets are off, right? At that point, I think I should personally be allowed, and everybody else for that matter should personally be allowed, to just go, fuck it, there's no rules, and say Pokemon names in any way that makes sense to you. I guess as long as we can tell for sure what you're trying to say, right? Inteleon. That doesn't make that seems a little silly, but maybe because I just said it the first time. I mean, I could just say his name is Gex constantly, which I'm surprised is not just what I do is just call him Gex every time, but eh. I bumped into one of these things. This thing resists Drill Peck. Dang it. Well, I'll just Fury Attack it. Maybe that'll get us somewhere. No stab on Fury Attack because, interestingly, the Rookidee line has no normal types in it whatsoever, which is unusual for a regional bird. Ouch. That, as they say, is a lot of damage. But it's hurting itself a little bit from its own dry skin. I wasn't expecting that to hit quite so hard, but also I didn't realize it's level 32. These wild Pokemon levels really know how to keep up in this game, actually. Water Steel looks like those old metal diving suits. Nice. Good old Delta Bioshock Magmortar. Yes. I can get behind this idea, though. I don't want to fight this thing in particular, just because these aren't worth a ton of experience, and they're electric types. I'd like to level up my bird. What's it? Oh, that's a Dugtrio. Right. Got 2 deltas. Wow. To be fair, it's a pretty popular Pokemon with, you know, some pretty neat ideas you can deal with it. So yeah, grass rock to look like old ruins. That's pretty cool. So you get the sort of ancient technology vibe with it. And ground bug for the full spider. That works too. Oh wow, this Maractus did not die in one hit. That's... I mean, yeah, even with us being this close in level, Maractus is not known for, well, much of anything, really. It's known for looking a little silly, but that's about it. I'll fight this Yamask. Oh, I went on the wrong ladder. Oops. Okay, yeah, this is good enough. It's like, it's my arrangement here. Okay. Look at how absolutely nuts this guy looks, by the way. Like, wow. This dude is completely out of his gourd. Right, Sudowoodo. We can deal with that in a shocking number of ways, really. But I think we're going to show off our newly evolved starter. This may not be a one-shot, but... yeah, so Snipe Shot gets a bit of a special animation to itself. That's pretty neat. Ah, yes, look at those majestic Diglett statues. Ooh, I could have just pressed on to the end here. I was worried that I was going to have to go through the climbing area before I got to Stow-on Side, so... does anyone here have anything specialist? Right, because this guy's the bargain shop. 3K for a Twisted Spoon. That might be useful. I don't have to go get the incense that gives that buff. Buying a pearl string. I don't have one of those. Alright, so next up he's getting a Miracle Seed. That's... I think I already have grass incense anyway. Hey, look at all these Digletts. What a fun Pokemon. Oh, oops, I missed the item there. Well, I can loop back around for it. Venoshock, that... Yeah, that was a part of a set of moves that were based around being more powerful against poisoned targets. Venoshock, Venom Drench. We got a Metal Coat, which will be nice if we need to have a Steelix or a Scizor at some point, I guess. Look at this small child standing under this bell. Oh, I wanted to hear what the souvenirs were. Well, thanks for not telling me, I guess. Yeah, it's an interesting choice, that's for sure. Again, it does kind of reinforce the idea of these being different games, which is something that the Pokemon franchise has struggled with for a while. And depending on whether or not you think it's good, I mean, that's up to you, but ultimately the fact that they actually got it to work, that much, I think, at least they managed to actually do it, right? Like, they've been trying for a bit. Yeah, and again, my opinion is kind of like, hey, yeah, you've been trying to do this for a while. And even if it's not necessarily the best idea you've ever had, you did finally get it to work. So, good job there, kind of thing. Oh, hey, look, he's got a Pikachu in his mouth. Wow, rude. Okay. Well, you see, Tav, to deal with that, you can just pay them for Pokemon. Oh, right. You would like a version of that that's not a scam. I gotcha. But yes, I do actually agree that having a better method of trading would be neat. And again, if they want to continue to do this two versions thing, I think they should be a little bit more differentiated. Which, yeah, your suggestion is not bad at all, actually. So, you know, it at least is like a one-off thing, right? Because, hey, they spend enough time trying shit and, you know, cycling through things. It's not like it would necessarily last all that long. Even if it was like crazy popular, then Nintendo would still be quite likely to be like, yeah, actually we changed our minds. And by Nintendo, I mean the other two companies also, possibly. I mean, yeah, I think that would be quite fair. You would definitely get to see a couple of options from either one as the, you know, from the previews. Has there ever been a Pokemon generation where they've done previews, I guess after the first? Because we weren't really paying that much attention at that point, where they didn't show off at least one gym leader. He is probably going to hit pretty hard here. We might be able to take... Oh, he's just using Flame Charge? Is that the only fire move you've got at this point, dude? And it did that much on a crit. That's not impressive, actually. I was expecting to be in real danger. He cries easily. Boy, does he. Well, get wrecked, kiddo. The most impressive thing you did was have your weird bird puke a rat on me. Oh, you showed up out of nowhere. And you're giving me someone else's league card. Well, why not? That start of her, like, walking up the stairs didn't look right. It just kind of looked like... It's probably just because she's taking slow steps, but it looked like she was just sort of moving diagonally. And I think they really wanted to, like, hide that. So they faded it out nice and early there. But they left just enough for me to see. Making some blatant artistic what does Diglett do art with, is my question. Nose? Forehead? Do I still have the original hair and eyes? Yes, I do. I have not changed that. That's a good question, Mega Man. This Diglett is just a strange fellow. Ugh, neat. I'm probably not going to use the Fly TM anytime soon, but hey, why not, right? Can we do the side plot stuff? Well, we can go try out the gym, at least, and... Did I remember to heal? I did remember to heal. Good. Alright. Ball guy. Neat. I do like the look of the heavy ball. I mean, all of the Johto balls I think look pretty neat, but the heavy ball I think is like a special A+1. So Ball Guy sort of said that, yeah, it works really well for catching heavy Pokemon, and by sort of I mean absolutely, but I want to put several major asterisks on this because the way the heavy ball works is kind of weird. Because instead of being a multiplier attached to catch rate that affects your ball modifier, the way like a Great Ball is 1.5 times or an Ultra Ball is 2 times, the Heavy Ball modifies the base catch rate of the target Pokemon. And it's also one of the very small number of balls that can actually reduce a catch rate if it's used on a Pokemon that's too light. So, for example, I have a Sandy Shocks in a heavy ball, and Sandy Shocks is like just barely too light to so it gets a debuff to its catch rates. Now let's save in front of the gym guy, just because I am admittedly slightly like, ooh, I might not be high enough level for this, but... Let's go. Yeah, get into our uniform, because I haven't remembered how to switch uniform, because I'm a fool, so we're in the basic one. It might be, and then I goofed it, but yeah. Oops. Wait. Oh, this sounds like it's going to take some doing to master. Oh, oh, good lord, is it? It's... right stick? Is that what we're doing here? Is... okay, so it's... yeah, it's spin the right stick. Okay. This... is, well, I don't want to call that well explained. We'll put it that way. That's a choice. And in between each, we get a trainer fight, I guess. Oh, it's okay. I don't think the game is measuring any of that, buddy. What if it did measure, like, how rough of a go you had on the Vomit Comet there? And it just, like, gave you a higher chance of being confused or something? That'd be an interesting choice, that's for sure. Oh, I have a time limit? Okay. Oh! Is that what you're... I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little bit thrown by the fact that it's right stick controls just in general. And that's it. First person time limit and more... oh, jeez. Oh. You folks are monsters, but I appreciate it. I appreciate what you're going for here. Hey, nice. Forge evolving from Carkol into Colossal. Get a load of this guy and his mask that's kind of like... the shape of the mask kind of reminds me a little bit weirdly of, like, Empoleon's beak a little bit. Maybe not Empoleon. Oh god, actually, I'm thinking a little bit more of, like, one of the Smogon creative Pokemons. But yeah, Colossal is a real good Pokemon. Slapping meat. I mean, this thing isn't necessarily so much meat, but fair enough. Stone meat. You know, that thing that's real and isn't a strange sentence to say. Protein. Yeah, and check out, we're still at like 64, 66 on our attack stats. The balance on that is so good. I didn't even realize at the time. I just looked at the thing and I was like, that's gotta be a That's got to be mostly like a physical attacking monster, huh? Oh, yeah, look out for these punch gloves. They're not like dangerous. They're actually required to move on. Whoops. And sometimes they'll send you back if you go to the wrong ones. All right, get in there. I think this is an interesting choice for a fighting type, but we've had some interesting choices for fighting type gyms in general. Hey, there's our friend, Galarian Farfetch'd. With a massive floppy leak there. Unfortunately, we're still talking about tanking stats that are on par with regular Farfetch'd, so... Ricochet, you it speeds like Sonic. Oh, wow, that's... You monster. I'd ask why you're like this, but, yeah. Level 36 and it didn't evolve. Huh, that's unexpected. Alright, what do I need? Level 38. 38? That's a weird number. But alright. Duly noted. Alright, can I do this? The answer is gonna be a no, dog. We gotta go to the other side here. Take the big launch. Yeah, see, now we're getting a little bit, like, actually puzzly here. At the end, I thought I had to, like, dodge through all that or face a nightmare, but no, that's just setting you up for that for free. Neat. Yeah, I'm not gonna say it's a hard puzzle, but there was an order of operations there. It's better than some possibilities, that's for damn sure. American Gladiator tier puzzles. I like that. I'm pretty sure that England brought over their own copy of, well, their own sub-copy of American Gladiators, and I think it was just called Gladiators, which... I don't know why I know this. Sometimes you just look weird shit up on Wikipedia. Really? 2024? Huh. I'm kind of amazed that there's still, like... This is still a series, or a franchise, I guess, that operates, right? Because, yeah, like, American Gladiators kind of seems like a very, very, like, late 80s, early 90s kind of prospect, and I guess... To be fair, there's a lot of those sorts of shows that have existed in the space of, like, game show kind of shit. of varying kinds, you know, tests of athleticism. You know, but I can't be too much like, yeah, MXC. I was gonna bring up MXC. God, fucking MXC. Oh my god, what an incredible, just like. Can we get like a full? If we're gonna revisit the sports idea for a Pokemon generation, can we just get it to go full MXC in the future? Where are these trainers running for? Hang on, I gotta actually like get the introduction right here. What are these trainers running from? They're not. They're running to the toughest competition in the region. There we go. Now we might be facing a little bit of uphill here. Just by virtue of the fact that I see that our first opponent here is level 34. Pangoro is coming in. So, I mean, our flying type strategy can still work, but fighting type, oh yeah, we got Dazzling Gleam, so we should be able to hurt this thing pretty good. Beldome had Terry Crews. Wow. Oh no, it ignores my, like, anticipation or something, probably. Ooh, that could be painful. Oh shit, we don't have the fairy type yet. Oh, Boo Earns. Dang. That's unfortunate. That's probably on me, though, for forgetting. Here, we can at least hurt this thing a little bit with Double Kick. And then set up to clear things out a little bit. Also did cross promotion with WCW back in the day. I'm taking on Rick Steiner. Wow. I don't know a whole lot about Rick Steiner other than, well, Rick Steiner being the brother of Scott Steiner, as you mentioned. But of course, I think part of that is just because Scott Steiner does have the rather memorable, the infamous meme of the old Scott Steiner math, right? How do you forget that man, right? WCW in 2000, which is perfect. Well, I will trust your expertise on that one because I do not know my wrestling too well at all. Just make the gym leaders professional wrestler designs. I'm with you on that one. So, you probably... I would guess that you did not know this because you did not play Gen 4, but in Gen 4, they did have a... The water gym leader was a luchador. Yeah, Crasher Wake. So they have had an actual, like, pro wrestler Pokemon gym leader. He was basically Vader. Yeah. I wouldn't have been able to place that, so shout outs to the guy with the wrestling knowledge and also the other Pokemon knowledge. Oh yeah, absolutely, but like, hey, it's a start, right? They've got at least one in the books. They could give us sock puppets. Oh my god, yes. Yes! Alright, so I'm gonna guess this thing is going to detect this turn, and it did not, surprisingly. Because usually when you see an opponent who does that kind of shit, they will absolutely just be like, hey, by the way, I'm going to spam my guard move every other turn. Oh, I would be all for that. That would be so much fun. An El Santo references to that would be awesome. I love this idea. This is pretty good. All right, so I'm taking a bit of a gamble here by keeping Corvusquire in here without more HP, but we've got a boost, and we should still be fast enough to go first with our Drill Peck buff to max airstream. Although Machamp is a Pokemon that I would hazard would have like a rock move, or possibly Thunder Punch. Or even Ice Punch. I forget if it learns the elemental punches, but it definitely learns rock moves. And yeah, here's our look at Gigantamax Machamp, who is, well, mostly just Machamp, but with glowing hands and veins. And eyes. Not much of a G-Max redesign here, but there's something. Machamp with Roid Rage, pretty much, yeah. So it's going in for Max Darkness, so I guess that'll be its, probably Brutal Swing as an attack? Sucker Punch doesn't seem like its style, so we are up against it here, folks. This could be a little rough, but I like to think at least a couple of my Pokemon who have speed, they have some speed, rather. Yeah, I mean, obviously, all that happened with my bird was it just got bigger, but keep in mind that Corvusquire is not a Gigantamax. Meanwhile, this is a Gigantamax Machamp, so me saying that it's like, oh, it's only a little bit, yeah. So I definitely was a little under-leveled for that one, so we took a lot of losses, but again, good thing that we're not doing a Nuzlocke for this, mostly just because I think that I would be in this like weird place with that sort of thing, especially the ability to see what Pokemon you can encounter on the overworld. That feels a little bit cheesy on a certain level with regard to the Nuzlocke, because I feel like, at least to me, that there's a certain degree to which doing a Nuzlocke run is like, you take what the game gives you, but if you can manipulate that so heavily, again, that's just personal opinion. Anyone else can say whatever. Also, I admittedly just kind of wanted to do a bit of casual run anyway, so. Yep. Alright, so uniform seller. Can I set this so that way I am using this as my uniform? It doesn't look like there's an option to do that in here. I assume that I've just like forgotten something very simple about this. I like the glowy bits in the steel uniform. There's something neat about that. And yeah, here's what's his name's horrible psychedelic thing. I forgot what this guy's name is. Not Balls Man, even though that feels like it would fit, but we already have a ball guy in this game, so. Yeah, so I don't know how to set that as my... It's not the league card or something, is it? That'd be silly. Yeah, I don't even think I can edit that from here. Hey, dude. Let's come in and talk to the ball guy one more time. I can't change the actual uniform. That's weird. I could have sworn I could have. Huh. Oh, well... Then I'm silly. Huh. Uh-oh. Who's throwing electrodes around at random? I'm gonna go heal. Unless I'm auto-healed and I forgot. Okay, yeah, I forgot. Wow, good work, me. Oh, neat, a max revive. Oh, he's got his goofy elephant thing. That sure is a mural that somebody drew, I guess. With very large crayons. We're just gonna stand here and watch this weird kid. Instead of ambushing him. Why would anyone want to get in good with that dumbass? Come on. The music is going apeshit, though. I appreciate that. Alright, I should have time to do 2 Hone Claws and then Power Trip, and then just absolutely massacre this guy. I mean, annoyingly, he is throwing up a Reflect, but I think we'll probably be fine with our doubled power using a BP 100 Power Trip. Oh no, he set up dual screens. Wow, wow. I can probably still one-shot this dude. Wow. It's clobbering time. Yeah, oh, it's clobbering time, buddy. Sending Gotharita. Yeah, it's the thing that sucked during that raid, but here, this is just some dude's random Pokemon. Oh, it's got enough. It's got enough defense on its bones to be able to actually take that. Mostly due to Reflect. Yeah, I mean, outside the raid setting, that thing is nothing. Let's learn Liquidation. I want to just look at it real quick. It's not a choice that we're going to make, yeah. It's a physical attack, 85 power. We're getting it now. Why? You're silly, game. Reflect is worn off, so... Yeah, this Hattrem is about to get completely just worked over massively. And lastly, a horse. Yeah, dude, I kind of do think that, but mostly just by virtue of the fact that you can't stop me at this point. Now that's what I'm talking about. Evolved into Corviknight. Oh, yeah. Now that is one hell of a Pokemon. Wants to learn Steel Wing. Hey, we don't even have to use our Internet Use TM for it. Sweet. I think I know who's going to be carrying me through the next gym, too. Yeah, our big metal bird, because the next gym is a fairy gym. I wouldn't even need to go catch another steel type or poison type for that matter. Just Phoenix recently got a shiny Rayquaza in a Dynamax adventure. Neat! Got it in Luxury Ball. Yeah, that's the one that would probably fit the most with that color, because it's black with some... I think it does have some red and gold details on it, but mostly black. And yeah, here's where we get a little bit of backstory for Bede. I actually forgot there was any, but yeah. He's getting kicked out of the gym challenge for trying to bulldoze a national landmark. I mean, kid, you clearly are... Iron Defense would work better with Body Press for most Pokemon that would want to do that. So, yeah. I mean, I could probably set that up at some point. But in all likelihood, I might not even need to. Well, we'll see what we end up using later on. Because, hey, yeah, we cycle through enough different Pokemon. You should get back before you get oh. No squishing occurred. That's good, at least. Hey, take a look at these statues of these huge dogs. Wow, that was almost like a real cutscene. Yeah, what's up with the sword and the shield? Can we get a better look at the shield dog's face? It might not be carved out in that kind of detail. I've seen a sword Pokemon. Oh, I would assume that people just forgot about that stuff, right? Well, he handed me 2 revives. All right. And Balonley is the next town. After we go through that fairy forest. So where's the place that we find those phalanx in the climbing zones? It's on the other side of the... Yeah, so I just don't remember entirely how the rest of this region is built. It's been a minute since I've played this game. But yeah, why don't we go have a look at the last couple of max raids that are hanging out in the wild area for us today, because there were 2 left that I could see. One of them was the Gothorita raid, which was causing us some issues. And the other one, you see that big pillar of energy there? Yes. Can we fly closer, I guess? Make my life a little easier. Okay, that's... Okay. So the answer seems to be not really. And due to the blizzard, visibility is crap. Or, well, I guess it's hail, not snow. Not until Gen 9, but... That's better. Now, we got plenty of hippopotas out here today. Alright, Mono-Psychic. Sure I don't have anything better to help deal with this? I think it might just be Roger Moore for optimal damage and just hope that we can race the thing. Because... otherwise, yeah, I'm not super prepared for that. Yes, I do love Drought, but at least the entire party is fire type, except for me. Someone's... Oh, God. That's why you gotta be like this, but... I already know. Yeah, that Salazzle is gone. Which... Salazzle, I kind of admit, yeah. Not a one-shot, no. This thing is actually got a little bit of back to it. It is a 3-star raid, and we're only in the 30s level-wise, so... That Solrock wants to start setting up and stored power spamming anytime. Even against Gothorita. Never mind, its buffs got negated. And the Torkoal is dead. Well, poop. Martin Solrock is such a goofy creature, though. I mean, yeah, it's not really a good idea, but unfortunately, like, doesn't the Dark One also do buffs or debuffs? So, like, there's actually no real... I'd have to just hit it the regular way. I'm just trying to damage race it as an option, and that's not really working out. I would literally need a different Pokemon, I think. Which, actually, my options for this very specific thing are not great. Finally, Psychic is actually powerful again. Wow. Hell with it. Let's go see what the other one is. He's back to having energy? Or I just missed them earlier? And I mean, on top of that, it also sets Psychic terrain because it's... Well, that's what that one does because it's Psychic type, so... It does add an extra amount, which is a problem in its own right. Oh, hey, this one's just 2-star. So, hey, we'll take the rewards from this. I already have one of these. No need to catch this. Oh, we got the rewards, and that's what I was looking for, so... Anyway. Oh, is there another one over there? It's only 10 o'clock. It shouldn't be rotating for new power spots yet. Was I really this unvigilant in, like, picking these up? I can believe it, but still... How do I get in? Oh, hey, Lapras. I seen that thing. Unfortunately, I can't surf around yet. I forget when you unlock that. Alright, I don't even need to switch for this one. This is just a simple bird. But we'll take the free, like, 2 candies or whatever. Honestly, probably not much reason to Dynamax either, but still. Ushering the energy crisis all the faster. Exactly. I want to make sure that this guy actually has a reason to exist or something. I don't know. Oh, hey, there's that Beware again from earlier. It's the incredibly goofy-looking wild Pokemon. Okay, so this thing should be significantly simpler to deal with. It's double weak to bug. And it won't boost every time I debuff it. Well... Well, there we go. I think that's cleaned up most of the raids from today, except for that one that I would need to raise a whole Pokemon for, which defeats the whole purpose. I mean, I guess the other option is that I just use fire with everybody else. That doesn't seem like it would be quite as good as I'd want it to. Oh well. That's fine. We got some pretty good rewards anyway, relatively speaking. But now that we've got all of that, let's go ahead and save. And that will do for today.